Somerville!
Hello to the doctor. The doctor is in the house. Hello, Clive.
Hello there. How wonderful to almost be back in Ireland, even if it's just digitally.
Well, you're very much part of Forever Young, so we wanted to start our video blog series with a chat with the doctor. And everyone wants to know more about you. You're very well loved as our compere extraordinaire. And so we wanted to have a little chat and ask you some personal questions. Is that okay?
Depends how personal. If it's very personal, I don't even know myself. So there we are. But we'll give it a go. What have we got to lose?
Right. Okay. So we've had questions from our lovely audience that want to know a little bit more about the amazing doctor. The first one is from Liam, and Liam asks,
Hey, Doc, got a quick question for you. If you weren't famous, what would you be up to right now?
Unemployed? Well, I'm the next best thing. Musicians are the closest you can get to being unemployed without actually being unemployed. Well, it's a very good question. And right, there is actually a factual answer, because at the end of the 90s, when we were dead in the water, literally, we couldn't buy a gig. Nobody wanted to know. I went through a series of professions. I became a joiner, a builder, a model maker, a set builder, and a blacksmith. And in fact, my biggest claim to fame is, apart from Splash the Otter, who was a 4-foot tall, walking, talking, radio-controlled otter I made for Welsh Water.
wow.
That is true, by the way. I've been known to spin a yarn. If you ever go to the Ritz in London and look above you and see the canopy with all the leaves, I made every single one of those leaves as a blacksmith. So I'm quite proud of that. So I would have definitely been something, making stuff. So there we are. Thank you for the question.
Well, that's little known facts about you, and that shows, your creativity goes well beyond your stage persona.
There wasn't a bit of creativity when I started off as a labourer in November, 18 months after being number one, in the pouring rain, mixing cement, and they complained that I wasn't quick enough. So,
well, never mind. Their loss is our gain, Clive.
Thank you.
The next question is from Mick. It's, hi, Clive. Have you met or spoken to Norman Greenbaum? And what is his opinion of your version of Spirit?
Norman's a lovely bloke, and I've never actually met him, but we email each other at least once a year. He calls me the English, not the British, the English, spirit in the sky. We're quite fond of each other, but he's a good, old-fashioned, proper hippie. Absolutely, to the soul, a beautiful soul. And occasionally he gets out and he does Spirit in the Sky. He had a terrible car crash a couple of years ago, so he's not been in brilliant health. But no, I'm very fond of him, and I think he has an affection for me, and he does like our version. He said we did a good job, so that's Norman.
Fabulous. So, talking about Norman being a true hippie, you now live quite a laid-back lifestyle in rural Wales, I believe. What made you choose that sort of lifestyle?
I wish I could say it was laid back. When the sad thing is, when you run your own band, as I do, because we're that kind of band that can't, we don't get posh management companies, nor could we afford them. So I do everything myself. So where I'm sat now is Medics Control. I do everything, little bit here. So I book the rehearsals, I book the band, I book the hotels, I do it all. And so I do live in the most marvellous part of the Brecon Beacons, but sadly the thing I get to see most is this little box I'm in. I feel like the other Doctor in the TARDIS. I kind of, that my world is this screen in front of me, but I do make sure that I get out at least once a day and just walk around and have a look at what the seats, just so I know what season it is. As it's starting to get a bit warmer, I'm guessing we're getting towards spring, but no, it's beautiful here. But and I do work hard, but when you walk out that door, you see what's in front of you, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, you can't beat it. Can't beat it. It's good for the soul. Okay.
And I keep fit by e-biking as well, because when you see me in Forever Young, there will be a bit of me missing. My left knee will be, I don't know where, but I'll be part bionic. And part of my recovery is to try and keep cycling right up to the point, obviously to within a couple of days. And then I've been told that if I get back on it, as soon as I can bend my knee, which is fantastic because I've got a great excuse just to turn the battery up full and just go all around the mountains here. It's wonderful.
Well, I sympathise. I've got to have two knees, so we'll be comparing notes, Clive.
eventually, the other one's got to go as well.
Yeah.
So, but it'll be after the festival season. So this one's before, the other one's after. So.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is from Keith.
Hello, Doc. My name is Keith. My questions to you are: did you have to get permission from ABBA to release Waterloo? And do you know if they heard your version, and did they give you any feedback?
We didn't deal with ABBA. We didn't. To do a cover version, as long as you're not doing anything derogatory to the original, as long as you're not doing anything that could be legally construed as defamatory to the artist or the original, you can cover any song you like. So no, we didn't have to do that. The best part of that was we had to deal with Roy Wood, of course, and Roy was a fantastic person to deal with. And he actually taught me during the recording of Waterloo, he probably taught me more about recording technique as a vocalist than I've ever learned since or before. So that was wonderful. But we did get a bit of feedback from ABBA. There was a program made about Waterloo and ABBA, and we weren't even on it. And we did hear that it was because they said if they were going to do or take any part in the program, that we were not even to be mentioned. So I don't think they're too impressed.
So they didn't like it. Okay. We won't mention that anymore.
I'm guessing they didn't like it, or they didn't like us, or they didn't like one of them. So there we are.
Okay. So, Clive, Liverpool born and bred. Are you a blue or are you a red?
Oh, red through and through. Unfortunately, at the moment, I mean, to be honest, being either is not particularly good for your health at the moment. But Liverpool, I got no choice. I was born into it. And when we were kids and we moved down to London, and Liverpool, 1972 FA Cup final against Arsenal, and all the uncles came down to go to the match at Wembley. Oh. And as they were walking out, as is my wont sometimes to say what's going to happen in the future, I don't know why, but I do. I said, Uncle Tom, and he turned around and said, Liverpool are going to lose 2-1. And they went out, and it was the Charlie George goal in extra time, and Liverpool lost 2-1. And he never forgave me, God bless his soul. And when I visited Liverpool, when he was not a well man, he was old, and he used to shuffle down the pub at the end of the street every night. There's someone with resolve. And when I went, my Auntie Ray said, you better go and see your Uncle Tom. So I went down to see it, and I walked in the pub, bearing in mind this was 25 years later. Yeah. And as I walked in, he goes, there he is. That's the kid I told you about. He's the one that cursed us in the cup. Didn't forgive me for 26 years till the day he died. So, and before lockdown, we were getting to go up there once a season at least to see Liverpool. So we're hoping to start that again, as soon as we can. So. Yeah,
well, my dad's Liverpudlian, and, I've always been a Red. In Ireland, the Reds have so much following. We're all suffering a little bit at the moment, but hey ho, when you take the highs, you got to take the lows. So,
well, some people don't know what the word support means. It's not just cheering along when the going's good, anyone can look good, but when the going's bad, that's support. So all the people out there say ridiculous things like, "Oh, Klopp's got to go." You just laugh. It's laughable, but there we are. No, support is needed, and all of them need to know we're behind them.
They'll be back, absolutely. So the next question is from Jane, and Jane would like to know,
what do you think of today's music? And what would you listen to yourself? See you soon.
Now I can do a massive plug here, can't I? Well, I DJ on a radio station called 365 Radio. And part of my remit is I do two shows, and one is for legacy artists. And in fact, it's all the new material by legacy artists. And a legacy artist is someone who's been around or recording for 20 years at least or more. So as such, I've got this window. I got very lazy about new releases, about music. So I wouldn't really take that much interest. So I've kind of been forced to, and through DJing, I've kind of been put back in love with discovering more new music, especially newer stuff. So I suppose I could say that I love all the material that's been released by legacy artists. And the funny thing is, that when I was making music, you used to do the tour to support the album. So people would put the album out, do the tour, probably lose money because you'd make your money on record sales. Well, now it's the other way round, because no one's earning anything when people listen to their track and they get their 0.008 of a penny. Nobody makes any money from sales now. So people put the stuff out to support the tours. So it's gone the other way around. So everyone is releasing music.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I have to do these new releases, and there's some terrible stuff released. I think some people are just so lazy. They think, get it on Spotify and people will listen to it. People do. There's some awful stuff. But on the other hand, there is some amazing music coming out by the older artists now who've been kind of forced to go back in the studio. So, I'm very excited to be doing that. And I'm discovering bands like the Automatics, who everyone over there would probably know. But in terms of newer bands, and they're not that new, my current favourite band is the Viagra Boys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there
Check
you go.
them out, everyone.
I'll
Check
have
them
to look
out.
them
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad...
I'm getting to be a bit of an old. I'm getting to be a bit of an old dance music head in my old age. I've kind of make the Hawkwind dance link, you know. So.
Fair enough. Each their own. Well, I'm glad you mentioned the Legacy Station, because obviously we worked together not only on Forever Young, but we worked together last year on our charity single for Ukraine, which was Heal This Broken Land, I think a fantastic cover of The Adventures' amazing single Broken Land. Now that went to the top of the Legacy charts and the Heritage charts, featuring Your Good Self, the lovely Mark Shaw, then Jericho, Carol Decker. We had Brother Beyond's Nathan. We had the Christians on it, and Nick Hayward was amazing. We had the fabulous Kelly Barnes. She was our brilliant backing vocalist. My little boy featured just doing some harmonies because he's got a lovely soprano. And it was a fantastic song. It did so well, and it raised a lot of awareness for Ukraine and for the plight of the animals in Ukraine. So I'd like to thank you again for being involved in that. And if anybody else wants to look it up on YouTube, Spotify, still a fantastic cause. But moving on, we've actually got two questions from Fran. So I think they're both good questions. I'd like to throw them both at you, if that's all right.
Hi Doc, it's Fran here. In 1985, you wrote the lyrics for and appeared on Greenly Fiendish for The Damned, and that turned out to be their biggest hit since 1979. Do you ever regret not keeping that for the Medics?
What, the song? Well, the story about writing the song was I forgot I wrote it. I used to DJ at a club called Alice in Wonderland for many, many years, and Roman from The Damned, who was writing a lot of the material, I mean, probably the majority, because Captain Sensible wasn't in The Damned at the time, for the Phantasmagoria album. And he had been playing me this song. And anyway, he came to the club, and then we got back. We'd had a few drinks, as you do, got back to my place at about 4. And he said, I'm in the studio in the morning recording that song I told you about. He said, and I've got to do the lyrics. So we got a cassette, as you used to do in the old cassette tape. So I just started playing it, pen and paper, and I can remember lying on the floor shouting lyrics out. Yeah, that bit there. So neither of us can remember which lyric which of us wrote, but I do know that I wrote all the good bits.
Of course.
But it was wonderful for me as a Damned fan to have a piece of vinyl and for it to say Vanian, Yug, Merrick, Doctor at the end. So they actually credited it to Doctor at first. So that for me was wonderful. So no, I don't regret not doing it for the Medics. It's actually now going to appear. I do a show called The Doctor Will See You Now, Life as a One-Hit Wonder, ? And Chris and I are actually going to put it in and start playing it live. So no, to have been part of the Damned's legacy for me was awesome. So yeah, very proud of that one.
So the next question from Fran.
I'd just like to know, did any record company ever try and make you change your sound or your image?
They daren't. They knew what they'd get. We had no one ever interfered with that, and that was part of the thing that when we signed a contract, we had so little control in the 80s because you had A&R men who made terrible decisions about your music. So they go in the studio themselves and try and remix something that Andy Partridge from XTC had done. That's how vain they were and how stupid. But we always had a thing. No, they signed us with this ridiculous image, which makes sense in my head. Nobody else's. It makes sense in my head. And I think they knew better than to even suggest anything, because they would get very short thrift.
So just the last couple of questions. What do your children think about your life continually as an artist that's always on the road performing and playing?
Well, I've got 4 children, and the reactions to that are across the board. Both of my daughters scream and run and hide in the corner if it's ever mentioned. In fact, my youngest daughter's at university, and she's saying, "Oh, so and so's dad does this. So and so's dad does this." Da, da, da. I said, "What do you tell them your dad does?" And she admitted she hasn't told them. They have found out since, but she never told them. My other daughters, they both get really embarrassed. Ozzy, my oldest boy, has played with the Medics. He's a very good bass player, and he stands in for John when John can't do it. So he's very much a fan. Luke, my other boy, I would tell you, but I haven't seen him for 4 years. He went around the planet on a motorbike, got to New Zealand, and COVID struck. So it's just the few conversations we have, I don't know. But he does like music, and I think he can't. I think, what did he say once? He said he saw us. He's seen me live twice, and I think the only comment is, "You don't half show off on stage, don't you, Dad?" And I think so. That was about it.
Well, I love that, because I mean, to be fair, you're our compere because of your huge character, and the feedback we get every year is how much people love you and how much they, wouldn't want the festival to be any different with any different compares. Got to get Clive back. So, you are part of the furniture. But that would lead me on to the question. This will be the 3rd year comparing Forever Young. We're very proud of our amazing event in Ireland. What would be your memory of the last 2 that you could share with us? Any special memories from actually performing and comparing at Forever Young Festival?
The first year, I'd have to say the first year, because I didn't know what to expect, and I like going out of my comfort zone. That's like when I do a new show, like The Doctor Will See You Now. So to come over and do the first show, it's a new show, and in my head, I don't know how it's going to go. And, you think, because I don't have a plan B. I can't just stand there and do the straightforward emceeing. Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Everybody okay? Okay, let's bring on. I'm not that professional. I'm not that swish. I have to do what I do. So if it goes wrong, I've got nowhere to go with it, which is quite scary. So I think on that first year, and I think I'll get emotional now. I think when I did Spirit in the Sky, and I just got I felt so much love. I mean, I've got so much love back, and I kind of thought, do you know what? This is all right. I like it here. And and that moment, and I'm not saying that the other year, the other time, it was any less. It was just that first year. It was that huge sigh of relief on my part that this is okay. This is all right. Just keep being yourself. Don't panic. You don't have to be anything else other than yourself. And that makes me feel at home. And it made me feel very, very loved, I have to say. And thank you for everyone's comments, because I do read them online, and it's extremely humbling just to do that, just to be part of such an amazing event, and I'm just that little cog, but we all work together. It's beautiful. And you come away from there, and it's wonderful.
You feel the love and you feel the vibe. It's something very special. There is. I'm very proud of it. The feeling that we get in that field, the people's happiness, the people's love, the people's enjoyment. It is like a high for everyone. I love it.
You should be very, very proud.
Thank you. So we're finishing all of our video blog interviews with a question, pondering a thought for the day. With everyone doing personal development and trying to become their better selves, my thought for the day question would be, one of my favourite quotes is, everyone is the star of their own movie. And that should be interpreted in how you get on in life with other people, and their, either the joy they bring, or, maybe the areas that don't make you, bring so much good into your life. How would you interpret that expression, everyone's a star of their own movie, in the lifestyle of somebody in music?
I think we are all we all have our own little image in our heads of how we want to be, don't we? And it doesn't always match how we are. And so for me, I think we should all have a positive image of ourselves, because I think all too often we are put down. People will try and run you down, and it's their reason. One of my expressions, which is a thought for the day, is let other people be the ones to tell you what it is you can't do. It's their agenda and their restrictions on you. You can do really what you might not be the best at it. You might not be anything, but do it your way and be that. So in other words, if you've got that film in your head that you're in right now, don't dream it, be it.
Be it. Don't brew it, be it, 100%. And what a lovely way to finish our first video log. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you again. I can't wait to see you in July. Big, massive thank you again from all of our regulars at Forever Young. Ladies and gentlemen, the Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you all. Can't wait.
When I die and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna go to the place that's best. When they lay me down to die, I'm going on up to the spirit in the sky. Going on up to the spirit in the sky. That's where I'm gonna go when I die. When I die and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna go to the place that's the best.
The Forever Young Festival!
Prepare yourself, you know it's a must. You gotta have a friend in Jesus. So you know